welcome to another episode of the Nation Cyberview, and you're joining me, Elaine Noor Abdullah, right here from the studio in Bernama. Now, as the tech hub developer, Cyberview is mandated to revitalize CYBERJAYA through the new master plan, which focuses on capacity building in the areas of emerging technologies and R&D&C, particularly in smart mobility, smart healthcare, and digital creative. Now today, technology continues to influence and alter the transportation industry around the world, and the pandemic has hastened this shift. Now, while public transit is being hampered, there is an increase in demand for autonomous vehicles, micro-mobility solutions, scooters, e-bikes and such, and drone usage globally, including emerging markets in several Asian countries. Now, we shall discuss the potential and benefits of mobility technologies and solutions in cultivating Malaysia's future economy in this tale. Now, joining me in conversation today is Dr. HAIRI ZAMZURI, CEO of eMooVit Technology Sdn Bhd, as well as Richard Kerr, Chief Marketing Officer of Aerodyne Group. Hello, welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us here on the Nation Cyberview today. Now, we'll focus on starting up the conversation with an introduction of your individual companies. So, Dr. HAIRI, would you do us a favor of introducing eMooVit Technology Sdn Bhd? Give us a little bit of background information.
Well, thank you, Rino. Thank you for accepting us at this event. So I'm HAIRI ZAMZURI, CEO of eMooVit Technology. So for eMooVit, what we do is we provide a solution, autonomous vehicle software stack for mobility, or we call it as autonomous shuttles. So what we do is we provide a solution for the end-miles transportation around Malaysia. So the autonomous vehicle technology is actually technologies that can capable to navigate from point A to point B at designated areas. Right. Thank you.
Fantastic. Autonomous solutions. I have been looking forward to this for a long time. And Richard, tell us a little bit more about Aerodyne Group. What is the company about?
Sure, Elaine. So Aerodyne Group is a Malaysian-founded global technology company. We're based here right here in CYBERJAYA. So we are known as a DT3 company, which stands for Drone Technology, Data Technology, and Digital Transformation. So we provide end-to-end drone-based solutions to enterprises, which cuts across multiple industries such as utility, energy, mining, oil and gas, agriculture, security and defense, and more. And we're also proud to name, to share with you that Aerodyne has been ranked the world's #1 drone-based solutions provider.
Wow, I can't believe that we have the world's #1 drone-based solution provider right here in Malaysia. It's so exciting. We're on the cutting edge of technology. Malaysia is really, pushing boundaries here. Now, Dr. HAIRI, perhaps you can give us a little bit more of a background with regards to the actual products and services that are on offer from eMooVit, and what led to the innovation of your products and services. Dr. HAIRI.
All right. Okay. It's very interesting to mention is that for eMooVit, we do is actually we want to solve the hurdle of the public transport in Malaysia. We want to solve the problems that cater between what we call is an end-miles solution, end-miles problem, whereby from, let's say, for example, for your train station to your shopping complex, commercial areas. So we want to solve that. We see that in Malaysia, we have impacts. A government have invested a lot of we call it invest a lot on the transportation, especially for LRT, MRT, and so on. But the end-miles is lacks on that. So what we do is we want to solve the issues. We want to provide the shuttles between the transport between the end-miles. We want to provide a shuttle between your train station into.
Right, we've lost Doctor for that moment. Now we just got you back. Sorry, you were telling me about solving the end-mile solution.
We want to solve the end-mile solution. Currently, we do have that shuttle service, taxis, for example, a Grab, for example. But what we want to go beyond that, we want to go for autonomously navigate, what they call it, a passenger can hop on and then drive away. That's our try to solve that's problems at the moment. Yeah.
I would love to be able to use an app and say that, I need this autonomous vehicle and I arrive back at, say, for example, KL Central because I just took a flight back, and I can just hop onto that autonomous vehicle and get myself home. It's really exciting. I'm looking forward to something it feels so futuristic, like Back to the Future or something. Okay, now, Richard, tell us a little bit more about the products and services that led to the innovation of the company. So tell us about what's available.
Yep. So in the beginning, when Aerodyne was founded prior to 2014, which is about 7 years ago, so our founder started the company when he found out that drones can do more than just capturing nice photos for your wedding or for your for corporate videos and those kind of areas. So he saw the opportunities of using drones for commercial application. So for instance, if you think about in the oil and gas industry, traditionally if you need to inspect an oil tank, for example, you would need to build expensive scaffolding around it, and you have to get people to wear face masks and enter the oil tanks to do the inspection. But nowadays you can actually do that by simply using drones. You can send drones over into these oil tanks and do an inspection work, and you can use drones to do crop spraying, and even the power lines in the country, we are actually serving them by doing inspection work and maintenance work as well at the same time. And we can even do large areas of, for example, solar panel farms and wind turbines across the different parts of the world. And that is actually just a small part of the business. Actually, what actually differentiates Aerodyne from our competitors would be.
Sorry, we lost you as well. We're having a little bit of a technical issue at this point of time, Richard. Dr. HAIRI, while we are trying to get Richard back on, perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about some of the real-world issues that you are facing with regards to this implementation of autonomous vehicles.
Very interesting. People start wondering, is it possible, or is it can be done? For us on the autonomous vehicle communities is that we believe that the technology is there. We believe that the technology is ready to be marketed. We believe that we have done a lot of testing. We have done a lot of development on it, but the bottleneck is actually not on the technologies, but more on regulations, because a different country have a different regulation, different law enforcement, and so on. So there will be a bottleneck. I think I can explain this more, but for that I think that's the problem.
That's another topic altogether with regards to that.
Yes. Okay. We need another discussion on that.
I'm sure it's a long conversation. Now, I have another minute before I go on a break. Richard, perhaps you can tell us about some of the real-world issues that you're facing with regards to technologies in your company.
So, for example, we have embarked very heavily into agriculture. So during the pandemic, as you know, Malaysia experienced a huge labor crunch, whereby a lot of foreign laborers were actually sent home, and a lot of the plantations were not being able to be managed, as you know. So we actually helped the country and a lot of the plantation owners to really introduce mechanization in terms of using drones to do crop spraying. Imagine the oil palm plantations. We have large areas of plantations around Malaysia. We actually deploy our drones and our pilots to do a lot of crop spraying work. So that's one example that we have been doing. And we're also looking at other, as I mentioned earlier, in terms of using drones to do inspection, monitoring, and management of large assets.
Now that sounds great. Some of these technologies are really helping us to be able to overcome some of the challenges that we face during this pandemic. We'll take a short breather right now. When we come back, we'll speak about smart mobility and what your definition of a smart city is. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Get the update of the week gone by on the Global Catch-Up. A weekly run-through of the big stories from around the world. 6:30 p.m. every Sunday, only on Bernama TV.
Hello and welcome back on the Nation Cyberview. Still with me, Elaine Abdullah, and today we're speaking about the topic of smart mobility in CYBERJAYA. And joining me in conversation today was two very special guests. We have Dr. HAIRI ZAMZURI, CEO, eMooVit Technology Sdn Bhd, as well as Richard Kerr, Chief Marketing Officer of Aerodyne Group. Gentlemen, we had a very lengthy discussion earlier with an introduction to your companies and the technologies that you guys provide, autonomous vehicles as well as drone technology. So exciting with regards to cutting edge technology. But let's now move into the topic of conversation right now, smart mobility. So Richard, I'd like to start with you. What is your definition of a smart city, and how does it relate to incorporating smart mobility demands into a city?
Okay, so I guess for a lot of people, when they think about smart cities, it's really about technology. But for my opinion, it is actually a way of life. But technology is an enabler. So, for instance, if you talk about smart mobility today, just like what Dr. HAIRI is offering to the city, is a kind of way that you mobilize people from point A to point B. So, for instance, in this example, how it relates to our company, for example, we do provide, logistics solution. So think about how the future of logistics is going to be. So imagine, Elaine, one day when you actually, in the very near future, when you buy something online, instead of waiting for a few days for the item to reach you, these drone technology, for example, will be able to deliver your item within 15 to 30 minutes, for example. So that's one really easy example that I can give. Yep. So you would have that instant gratification when you purchase something online and have it delivered, to you right away. And of course, if you look at what's going to happen in the very near future as well, the urban air mobility is also coming. So that is essentially a vehicle that will be able to take you to point A to point B using electric propulsions and actually flying on the air. So you don't have to actually rely on ground transportation.
Oh my goodness, it's sort of like seeing things flying and zipping all over our heads soon. Now, Dr. HAIRI, what are the current hurdles and emerging trends in smart mobility, and how would your organization capitalize on them?
All right. For autonomous vehicles, right, we want to focus on the public transport. So what you can see is currently trend for cities, big cities, right, like Japan, Tokyo, for example, Paris, for example, Kuala Lumpur, for example. The behaviors of the people or the citizens, you can say, is that shifting from owns a vehicle. Previously, is own a vehicle. Previously, we can say is that owning a vehicle is very luxurious, and then it's necessary. All right, it's changed to a necessaries, and then you can see that the change behavior is that I just want transport. I just want a vehicle that can transport me, can send me from point A to point B. That's why we can see a Grab exist. That's why we can see e-hailing exist. Now, if you can see on the big cities, right? Big city like Japan, Tokyo, Paris. Cost of owns a vehicle is very expensive. In Singapore as well, very expensive. Not because of the vehicles, but parking, license, road tax, and so on. So that's it. So when we have an autonomous vehicle running in the cities, we not own that autonomous vehicle. We rent it. So much easier. I just call, and then I get services. Send me to over here. That's it. So that's how the autonomous vehicle in future.
No, it's completely being able to provide a supply for a current demand that's evolving, because we're changing, like you said, in terms of our habits, in terms of our lifestyle, in terms of our needs, and in terms of our expectations, because we're not using that sort of like as a sort of like a representation of who we are. We are just using it to facilitate our life, to create a better experience for our life. Richard, perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about those emerging trends in your sector and smart mobility, and how this is being capitalized by Aerodyne Group.
Yeah, so for example, a lot of the demand actually coming from outside of Malaysia. So as you know, Aerodyne is already operating in 35 countries. A lot of the demands coming in from the Middle East, for example. They are very progressive in terms of technology adoption. So they're looking into using drones for delivery. So we have been working with the authorities there, exploring in terms of how do you deliver items or medical items from one hospital to another without actually relying on ground transportation. So that's one of the things that we're working on. Also, we are working with some of the oil and gas companies as well. So if you think about some of the oil offshore platforms which are located 20 to 30 kilometers offshore, traditionally you would use a helicopter to deliver these items, but nowadays it is already possible to use drones to deliver items. So you don't actually have to have pilots, operating that helicopter, so to speak. So you can actually control them remotely. So these are just some of the things that are already happening out there. And of course, as I mentioned to you, urban air mobility is coming as well. I think different parts of the world, companies are already experimenting on using this to transport people, cargoes, and it would be very much related to what Dr. HAIRI is developing. Well, their solution is on the ground, but in the future it will be above ground.
Wow, robots are taking over the world. Now, quickly, I just wanted to hear from each of you. Why do you choose to build your innovation business in CYBERJAYA? What does the city offer? Dr. HAIRI, let's start with you.
Okay, first, eMooVit is born in Johor, a small piece for purpose, right? So we decided to go to CYBERJAYA. One of the reasons is that for us, at the moment, we see that CYBERJAYA is well maintained, a good infra, manageable for us to do testing. And at the end, what we can see is that CYBERJAYA or supporting us in terms of doing a lot of testing on autonomous vehicles. So we are some sort of, I can say it's like something like we cannot go away from CYBERJAYA actually. We are stuck here. But stuck in the positive way, not in
a good way.
Yeah, in a good way.
Great test bed. Now, Richard, tell us about Aerodyne. Why are you guys in CYBERJAYA?
Well, I guess as you know, Aerodyne is a Malaysian-founded technology company. Our founder is very into supporting the nation-building initiatives. As you know, CYBERJAYA is actually Malaysia's premier technology hub. It is a proud of the nation. And then, of course, you have the world-class infrastructure here already. And considering that a lot of our customers that we serve from around the world, we need world-class facilities that we're able to process the data, for example, and develop solutions that are customized for our customers. And of course, all of these, you need a good technology ecosystem, and we get really good support from CyberView as well. For example, in terms of facilitating in terms of what we need to develop our infrastructure internally or develop solutions for our customers.
We'll talk about scaling. It's all about scalability at the end of the day. You can start something, but how do you scale up? So we'll be right back after these messages. Hello, thanks for staying with us right here on the Nation Cyberview with me, Elaine Noor Abdullah. We're speaking about smart mobility in CYBERJAYA. I have the pleasure of speaking to Richard Kerr, Chief Marketing Officer of Aerodyne Group, as well as Dr. HAIRI ZAMZURI, CEO of eMooVit Technology Sdn Bhd. We've spoken a lot about the technology that's available right now, to create better smart mobility in a smart city. So next, I want to talk about scalability. So Dr. HAIRI, I'll start with you. When it comes to scaling smart mobility, how accessible and feasible are present technologies?
All right. For us, right, autonomous vehicle, right, we provide actually the software stack, the brain of that vehicle, the brain how to navigate. So our software is not only meant for autonomous vehicle. It can be meant for logistics. It can be used in agriculture. Anything that required autonomously or automated navigation from point A to point B. I mean in the grounds, not on the skies, like different story. Okay, but then our software stack is very versatile. It's modular based, so we can plug in A and B and B. So wherever that we want to go, let's say that we're going to doing some robotics in agriculture. We have done that actually. So we just use our software stack and navigate and use that kind of things. So for us, it's actually we can deploy in anything. For example, in delivery robots is happening around the world actually. Delivery robots can be done as well. So, but for us right now, we want to focus on one sector before we go on other sectors.
So essentially, that's the brain that controls what and how it's going to function. Absolutely scalable. On your side, Richard, Aerodyne Group, how scalable are the present technologies that you have?
Yeah, so for instance, as you know, today, in today's context, when you operate a drone, you actually have to have a pilot on the ground, get the pilot certified, and get go through the permits and everything, right? But eventually, this the drone technology will evolve to become what you call aerial robotics. There will be intelligent. They are able to navigate themselves automatically, and this will be enabled very heavily in the future through the enhancement of data technology. So imagine, as I mentioned to you, data technology, of course, a component of it is artificial intelligence. Because as you know, everyone talks about AI nowadays, right? And it will evolve to a certain point that this AI would be able to, control sets of drones flying over the air. And it's more scalable in that sense because you won't actually have to have pilots anymore operating them. And these technologies are already available today, and of course the adoption we'll start to see more adoption of it over the next few years.
We look forward to it. Now, next question I have is how do smart mobility technologies support people's security and resilience in a world of perpetual disruption? We'll go back to you, Richard.
So, for example, I have briefly shared about how the drones will become sort of like aerial robotics, right? So as you know, AI will be a core technology to enable this drone technology, for example, even what Dr. HAIRI is developing, because they will actually help to reduce human error. You no longer have to there's always a tendency when people are operating, there's a margin of error when people driving, for example, and of course you have cases like people are driving under the influence. So but in the future technology, once you have this enabled, you will reduce all this possible human error, and of course in that sense you will help to increase people's security when it is much more safer for them to travel from point A to point B, for example. So a lot of new use cases that will be actually help to make it people feel safer as well when they travel.
And at the end of the day, we're just trying to eliminate human error. Now, Dr. HAIRI, what are the most valuable factors that you reckon innovators should emphasize on when developing smart mobility? What should they focus on?
I think more or less something like us, like Aerodyne and eMooVit, we're looking at technologies, right? We're looking at, actually not looking at technology, but we're looking at technology and how it's going to assist or helping the humankind. So we want to use the technology to optimize our living. We want to improve our living life, livings. So that's how we want to see. For me, yes, you can go for a technology, but more importantly, how it benefits to the humans. That's the things that I think are good things about it. How it affects your I think living cost, for example, how you could daily works. That's how. Not only focus on technology. Sometimes high-end technology is not. I guess sometimes it is more tends to. Sometimes a solution can be very simple. Not using a high-tech as well. Very simple solution that can help people. That's the most important thing. Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Literally, always simple solutions are what are going to make life better. Because the more complicated it is, more difficult it is to get done. So, but simple solutions that actually enhance living and be able to create sort of like, bridging those gaps that we're looking for. Now, my final question is, taking action to reduce and regulate pollution levels has gained popularity. How can smart mobility technology help bridge this gap? Dr. HAIRI, perhaps let's start with you.
Perhaps when we talk about smart mobility, we are looking at sustainability. We are looking at reducing the CO2 levels or emission and so on. For if you're looking at 5 to 10 years ahead, right? Smart mobility, there are more towards to electric vehicle, there are more to electrification technology. So more or less it will impact the pollution, it will reduce the pollution. Parallelly, yes, currently we are looking at that situation right now as well, right?
So will help with emissions. And Richard, perhaps on your end, perhaps you could also tell us how you foresee smart mobility technology can help bridge this gap as well before we close.
Sure. I think it's very much similar to what Dr. HAIRI just mentioned. The future is electric. As you know, a lot of the applications nowadays run on electric powered, right? So similarly, when you talk about using drones, for example, for logistics, it has been proven that it helps to reduce carbon emissions compared to ground logistics. So because they are actually smaller in terms of size and they run on electric, and even if you think about how the drones of the future, when they are operating in a large scale, they will be actually more environmental friendly compared to using existing ground logistics relying on petrol, for example.
Fantastic. Lesser trucks on the road, lesser accidents, lesser pollution. We're looking forward to a more sustainable, innovative future. Thank you so much, both Dr. HAIRI ZAMZURI as well as Richard Kerr, Aerodyne Group as well as eMooVit, bringing new technologies into Malaysia. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you both. Now, in closing, a progressive new master plan has been devised to ensure CYBERJAYA remains relevant and competitive within the tech industry space. Significantly, with the new master plan, CYBERJAYA offers vast opportunities to tech investors and businesses to establish their presence in CYBERJAYA. Take advantage of beautifully designed and digitally integrated workspace and facilities to unleash unlimited potential, support R&D, and enhance co-creation among tech players. Choose from a selection of world-class offerings from a center of excellence supported by makerspace, testing facilities, and co-working spaces, as well as other facilities including Grade A office spaces, R&D centers, and bespoke offices. CYBERJAYA is committed to create a sustainable, high-value, comprehensive business launchpad, and is strengthening its position as a technology hub developer. Thanks for tuning in to the end of the show. I'm Ling Nopla. Until next time, bye for now.